are live.
All right. Peace, love, and light. Hello, everybody. Welcome tonight. We're glad to see you back again. And I have Mr. Councilman Dennis Pfeiffer with me. Hi, Mr. Pfeiffer. How you doing today?
You freezing up, Shatar.
I'm freezing up.
Yep.
I'm not sure why.
Hello,
I can see.
I can
Mick.
see.
Mick, you hear me?
Yep, I can hear you and everything. Can you hear Dennis,
Yeah.
Shatar?
Yeah, I can hear him. I
Yeah,
can
it's
hear
just
him
like
and I
this.
can see him.
Okay, well, go ahead. Can you hear her, Dennis? Dennis,
Can you hear me, Dennis?
I don't think he can hear you.
You there?
Yeah, I'm here.
Can you hear me?
I can't hear you.
No, he can't
Oh.
hear you.
I can hear everybody.
Yeah, she's. You know what? He might need to come on and come. But your phone froze up.
I'm not on my phone.
What you? Oh, your laptop. Your screen froze.
Is it?
Tell Dennis. Yep.
I don't see Dennis frozen either.
Nah, yours. I'm from my end. You look froze.
Tell her turn her head.
Turn your head.
Yeah, she not fake.
Yeah, you froze. Tell Dennis he got a. I can't hear Dennis.
You can't hear him?
Yeah, I can hear Dennis, but he can't hear us.
Hmm.
Tell Dennis he might have to come back out and come back in if he can't hear us.
I'll have to send him a message, Mick. I don't
Yeah,
know.
send him a
You can
message.
hear me though, right?
Yeah,
Yes.
we can hear you. We can hear you. He can't hear us. Tell him you might have to go out and come back in. No, from my end, you look froze.
Mick, you know what? I'm on the
Tell Dennis go
on
out.
live. We're not frozen. I can see us
Okay.
and hear our conversation.
That's what's up.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, because I'm on it right now, and Dennis and I are not frozen.
No, Dennis not frozen. That's why I just told him Dennis to go out and come back in.
Not even on the live. I'm not frozen on the live either.
No, now you back. Now you back good. Can you
Okay.
hear me now, Dennis? Can Dennis hear you?
Dennis,
I
can you
did.
hear me? Nope.
I just hit him in the chat in the private chat. Told him to go out and come back in.
I don't know if he's seeing it.
You see, he ain't gonna see it.
I don't know. I see it, but I don't know if he does.
You might have to hit him and tell him to come on and come back in. Yeah, you tell him to go out.
Let's see. Oh, I don't know. He might be looking at the chat now.
Yeah. Yeah. I don't think he's seeing the chat. I'm gonna go. I went to the. I'm gonna hit the line.
Hold tight, party people. We having some technical difficulties. I'm sorry.
That you might have to email him, tell him go out and come back in.
I will.
Yeah, email him, tell him go out and come back in, see if it'll work that way. It shouldn't be doing that.
I just sent him a message, so hopefully he'll see it.
Yeah, I think he just looked at it to tell him to go out and come back in.
Okay.
Yeah, because that's probably what it is.
Maybe.
Yeah, he got to go out and come back in.
Okay. All right. Okay.
That's how it works sometimes, you know.
Okay. Yeah, get it straight. Nothing but a little bit of straightening in the
Yeah,
Meatloaf's voice.
right. No doubt, no doubt.
We'll get it together.
Oh, definitely. I see Brother D over there. He got, I don't know, he was talking, you know.
Brother D.
Yeah, Brother D was over there. You know, they doing something tonight, you know. You didn't see the
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, he was saying he's going to be the voice for Reggie Flynn.
Oh, yeah. When did that start? What time did that start?
I think 6 o'clock.
Ah, okay.
Dennis Pfeiffer joined.
Oh, there we go. There we go. Can you hear us now?
Yeah, I heard you the first time.
Oh,
Oh,
But I
no,
couldn't hear. Like, as soon as you dropped off, I couldn't hear a sitar no more.
oh,
okay.
got it.
All
No,
right.
okay, you ready to go?
Yeah,
Y'all live
ready to
anyway.
go. All right, we're back in action. Mr. Pfeiffer, how are you doing today despite our technical difficulties?
Good.
Wonderful.
Good.
It's good to see you as usual. So I wanted to talk to you a little bit about everything that's going on because there's so much going on right now, right?
What there is? I haven't noticed.
I bet. So there has been like, I don't know, goo gobs of talks about first the grocery store. So
Yeah.
I'm gonna tell you where I stand with the grocery store.
Okay.
So a little backstory, a little bit is when it first started going about, and it was Reggie Flynn that was putting it out. I'm not a fan of him. Not,
Okay.
like him personally, but some of the things he does and all those things, I'm not a fan. So I just don't, my own opinion is I don't think he's like the best of guys, right?
Sure.
So I'm like, So I'm gonna be honest with you. Like, I don't, it's not that I don't think we need it. I don't think it's well deserved over there and everything like that, because there's pretty much nothing over there, locally for them to shop with. Not saying that. However, had it been somebody else that maybe approached with it or whatever, I might have been a little more on board with it. Fast forward to now. And he got this money, he got all these people behind him and everything like that. And now he needs an additional $600,000. So I said this again on one of my podcasts before, and so some of the people in the chat were saying, "Well, it costs money, a lot of money to open a grocery store." Not denying that. However, I just believe that if you have $7 million already and you're using a structure that's already there, it's not like you're breaking ground and building something else. I'm not saying that it's not costing that, but here's my other thing. So then there's a list of these things that you need, and a $7,800 fucking popcorn machine is on there, and I'm like, what?
It's
Now
got to be
again,
good popcorn, right?
what kind of popcorn is that? And I'm saying, and then so the lady, I can't remember her name, and her reasoning wanting it and needing it is because kids like popcorn.
Yep.
Listen, I don't have $600,000 to give anybody nor use for myself. However, if I did, I know damn well I wouldn't be paying $7,800 for a fucking popcorn machine. That's A.
So the funny thing is I when that first came up and people were talking about the 7.5 million or whatever that they got,
Mm-hmm.
I looked up and I found an article, and like 3 years ago, it cost $7.5 million to build a Whole Foods.
Oh,
So does that put you in perspective on what
yes.
they're trying to spend money on or spent money on up there? And I'm
Absolutely.
100% agreeing with you that something needs to go up there. There is the proverbial food desert up there, but we got to deal with the people that want to start things, right? So if nobody wants to go up there and start something, then we're kind of handcuffed to who is going to take that leadership role and run with it and to open it up. So
Understood.
that's where we're at. But yeah, 7.5. I read that and I was like, that can't be right. And yeah, it was $7.5 million to build a Whole Foods.
Well, see, and that's my thing. The building is already there. The structure is there. It's not like we're breaking ground, building a whole new structure, right?
Yep.
So it's really just, modifying it and inside because it's already a structure. So I'm just confused. Like I'm just not. I ain't the best, but I'm pretty good with dealing with the little bit of money that I got. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And stretching it out a bit. And I understand, and I also understand wanting to have like state of the art things, and making sure that everything is really fresh and really good. Considering
Yep.
the area that you're in. Like I get that. But I don't think a $7,800 popcorn machine is the way to go. Now, I know that if you can itemize this out and make it make sense to me, then I get it. If there was some reason in doing that, like I can get that. I'm
Yeah.
going to tell you the other thing that would make me say, Okay, because there's nothing over there, right? Like you said, desert.
Yep.
If you were saying, hey, we need this additional $600,000 to be able to operate this market for 24 hours, I'd probably be like, hell yeah. Right? Because I'm going to be honest with you. So when my children were small, um, especially when my baby was a baby, her night and days were mixed up. And sometimes I would go to Meyer and I would walk through Meyer at like 2 a.m.
Yeah,
because
they're not 24 hours no more.
no, they're not 24 hours anymore, nor is there a Meyer over there because Meyer is gone. Right. Yeah. So I get it. Like I get those type of things, but I'm just telling you, I personally had a problem with it. It ain't even my money.
Right. And it's and I think that's a lot of what some people on the council, they want to know, like, okay, you got $7.5 million. Where have you spent that money so far?
Yeah.
Like, where has all that money gone so far? And that's why, like, there's some question of why do you need another $600,000? And they said that because of COVID, equipment went up 150%. Well, little do they know that I work for a restaurant manufacturer of equipment, and equipment hasn't gone up 150% or 250%, whatever they're done. So I can personally fact check that what they said there is wrong. So there's longer lead times, but
I was just getting ready to say that
nobody has jacked their prices up 250% on the restaurant or kitchen equipment side.
So I was a master scheduler for 9 years, and I did a lot of ordering and I did a lot of things like that. And I still do a little bit of it still now. And like I was getting ready to say, now I know lead times are crazy,
Yep.
right? Some of them can be months to a year, depending on whatever it is that you're trying to order, especially some of these larger things that are not things that you keep a lot on hand, right?
Mm-hmm.
So those lead times are crazy. And with things going on overseas and things like that, ports and all those things, there are a lot of things that have crazy amounts of lead times. So I agree with you. If it was a lead time thing, or they're saying, hey, we need to get something else because the lead time is like a year out or 2 years out, and we want to go with something else and it's a bit more expensive. I could see that, but not saying that those prices are hiked up. I'm not saying it has, because I have not checked that, but I kind of find it hard to believe.
Well, so I don't know how lead times are really that big of a deal, because she said the other night that they're not going to even open until April of next year.
Interesting.
So I don't know. I think there's definitely some questions to be answered in regards to that. So, but yeah. She pulled the other meeting. She requested to have that resolution recalled, so they're no longer seeking that $600,000.
Yeah. Well, I see someone had given them the money, so they got whatever they needed, right?
They got it from the state or Genesee County or something like that.
Yeah, they got it from there, so they no longer need it. I like you would definitely like to know where that $7.4 million, like where that was allocated. I would love to see that.
Yeah, because we asked for those and they still haven't produced them. We're supposed to get audited financials, and that we still haven't got that. So maybe they didn't want to share that, and that's why we didn't get it. I don't know. I'm just speculating, but
that's very interesting. So moving forward, I have a question for you personally. So I know that you wanted to put into motion that stores close at 10 o'clock, right?
Yep.
That some of the stores close at 10 o'clock. To cut down on the crime and the hanging out.
So these are liquor stores that are within 300 feet of a residential property. So these are really the liquor stores that are in neighborhoods. Those ones are specific.
Okay. So I have a question in regards to that. So being that I'll continue to use the north side and say that there is a liquor store in there, but that may be the only store that's around it for a good amount of ways. So again, I'm just going to use the example of, like, when I was younger and I had younger children, and after a certain time of night, maybe I ran out of Tylenol or something like that. And those were the only stores that were there that I could go to, or I didn't have a vehicle to get there or whatever. What what is it that we could do to make sure that, I don't know, is there another way, to even, or even when I was on third shift, and like if I needed to go out before I went to work, and like I was on this like crazy split shift one time, and I didn't have to be to work till midnight.
So to answer your question, I've done a lot of research on this, and generally there's another store located within 1 mile of a store that's proposed that would fall under this ordinance.
Okay,
So
so
you're
so that one would not be where you're saying they would not have to close at 10 o'clock.
correct, because
Gotcha.
if they're around, if they're off of, say Saginaw Street or whatever, and they're not located right in a neighborhood, then
Right.
they're a mile away from one that would be impacted by that ordinance.
So
So within a mile, you should be able to find what you're looking for.
okay, so with that being said, would it do you think that if you did do that, especially like in the summer and that, do you think that the kickback and those people that like maybe be hanging out at the stores or whatever, that would trickle out into the neighborhoods though, and make more nuisance in the neighborhood?
Uh, I don't know, but I think that the loitering and the most important thing I've thought when I was drafting this was putting together something where we could reduce the traffic around people. Say if you lived next to a liquor store, right, and you
Hmm.
got somebody coming in playing music at all times of the night, running in, grabbing what they need to get, some people squealing off, some people getting an argument, and kids are trying to get up and go to school. The parents are probably, like you said, trying to uh, they have jobs or trying to go work, so it's trying to minimize that, as well as the loitering and potential. I know over here in the Court Street Ballinger, we have a liquor store gunshot problem where
Mm.
there's gunshots and people arguing in front of. Um, there's a few of them on Court Street, and you got the Flushing and Ballinger thing. So we've got a lot of issues, and it's we got to start, and we got to try something. What we're doing isn't working, so we got to try something. And this is we'll try it. If it don't work, we still have escalating numbers and everything else. Then if my perspective is, if this saves one life, two lives, then it's worth it.
Understood. So Becky Brown in the comments says, so we're comfortable with liquor stores in the community, but questioning the grocery store. Becky, I'm not sure how long you've been on here, not questioning the grocery store. Neither myself nor Dennis Pfeiffer has said that we don't think that the grocery store is warranted. However, um, the amount of money that they're asking for certain things is ridiculous. And if you think that's okay, then I question you, because
I'll,
there's
I'll
something wrong with wanting a $7,800 popcorn machine. I'm so sorry.
I'll go a step further. Is there needs to be one where this is proposed, and there needs to be one in the third ward as well, because the
Absolutely.
third ward is even more isolated than where they're proposing to put this. So uh,
Absolutely.
I'm not against the grocery store at all. That's 100%. But
Absolutely.
there's questions that need to be answered. I'll leave it at that.
Absolutely. I wholeheartedly agree. And I'm not playing devil's advocate on one end or the other. I'm just saying that to me it just doesn't make sense. Not at all. It just
Yeah.
doesn't make sense. Um, so yeah, no, I don't condone it at all. And I agree that there is a problem with loitering. I just I'll be honest with you. My worry is that it'll trickle back into the neighborhoods, because because there are a lot of neighborhoods that there's not a store right there and they're still having the same problems. I don't know what we do with any of that. Actually, I think that there are so many things that are problems. But I agree with you that we do have to start somewhere. Something has to work. I do agree that
Yeah.
with that. There are so many issues everywhere, as far as like these children not having anything to do, these young adults not having anything to do and places to go, so they're just making the shit up as they go along, right? And whether it be is disturbing the shit out of us old folks now or whatever, I think they're just doing something, anything, you know. So I
Yeah,
agree we have to have
what
some
we've
things
been,
going on.
what we've been doing or not doing hasn't worked, right? We've got record murder rates, we've got record crime rates. I don't care what you say about, they can talk about violent crimes down, but murders up. It's because police aren't able to respond, and that's why not everything's getting documented. It's getting documented. So I believe our crime is up across the board, and we
Yeah,
got to do something before our community is totally decimated.
I agree. She also asked the question. Let me see if I can go back to it. Why did the library have to raise more money for their project, and they were given more money? I
The
have,
library,
yeah, that's what she asked.
yeah, I'm not
I'm not
familiar with
familiar
that.
with that. I can't speak on it because I'm not familiar with that at all.
Yeah,
Um,
that hasn't come across the council's desk. So I'm not really not familiar with that at all.
that you said that hasn't come across council's desk at all.
No.
Okay. Um. So Becky, I apologize. We can't answer that question. I know I'm not able to because I don't know anything about it. And I've said this a million times before. If I don't know anything about it, I really don't speak on it. So I can't. I don't have an answer to that. So um with the what's going on with council? What's going on? Why are we still having
Well,
these
we
long
gotta,
drawn out meetings and what's going on, Dennis? Let us know.
we got a lot of strong personalities, and we got a, it's we got a lot of hard-headed people that if you don't agree with them, then that's it's my way or the highway type of stuff. And I you know can, full transparency, I'm a little bit that way as well. I want to see change, and I want to see us do the right thing. And when I feel like we're not doing the right thing, when we didn't take all the land bank houses, like
Hmm.
that that physically and mentally upset me. Like I know that being here all but 5 years of my life, it's disturbing the amount of negative things we have going on in the city. And if the new council is going to act the same way as the old council, then we're doomed as a city.
So I was saying before that I feel like everybody lives in the city of Flint, supposedly, right?
Right.
Everybody lives in the city of Flint, and that if we are all thinking the same way that the city needs to be healed, the city needs to be brought back, right? That if we were all on one accord with that, like I don't even understand like where the bickering is about what needs to happen in what ward. If you have something going on in your ward and you bring it to the table, because I shouldn't just want my ward to look nice. I want all the wards to look nice. I want all the wards to prosper, right? So if there's something in your
Yep.
area that you need and you want it to prosper, I should be okay with that if it makes sense. Just like if it's something in my ward and that I want to prosper and it makes sense, you should be okay with that too. And I'm not understanding why, because according to before anybody was even voted back in, these are all pretty much all the things that everybody was saying. I don't understand why we got to fight so damn much about it.
Yeah, I mean, just being honest, and I've said this on the council floor, my ward doesn't need much. We do have a minor blight problem compared to the other wards. I mean,
Yeah.
if you compare my ward to the other wards, it's a minor blight problem. If you compare my ward in the crime statistics, it's minor compared to the other wards. Um, and I've said this, that I'm not fighting for stuff from my ward, and I think that this as as a general thing, if we don't increase population in the city, and it will be a failure. If we don't increase by the next census a dramatic amount, it will be a failure on the leaders in this city, meaning that we have to fix a bunch of things. And if we fix those things, then the byproduct will be an increased population. Meaning,
So
if we fix housing, if we fix housing,
there you go.
if we fix crime, then the population is going to naturally increase because we will become a destination instead of people trying to exit. So we have to fix all of those small things in order to get the big thing, which is our population back up, because our infrastructure and our roads are capable of handling almost twice the population. So our services are in a steady decline because we have more roads, we have more water lines than we're currently using, but those have to be maintained.
Yeah.
So, and it costs more money. So the sooner that we can get the population up, it's more advantageous that all of those other services are going to cost the existing taxpayers less.
So how do we do that? So in my mind, when I think about that and think about increasing the population, or I think about places I go because I like to travel. So I think about places that I go, right? And places that I
Yep.
like to go and what I see when I go there, right? So it's more businesses, and it's more, things to do, things to
Yep.
see, right? And then not even only that. So when you think about that and you see those things, then you think about, man, okay, this is happening here, this is happening here. Could I live there? Then so I'm that person, right? Could I live there? And so you trickle out and you look through the neighborhoods that's around it. But even if you go downtown and then you're coming back towards the north and you look around the neighborhoods, like you're seeing empty lots, or you're seeing rundown houses, or you're seeing burned down houses, or you're seeing half torn down houses, and those things like that. What can we do? Is it like one of those things where these houses have been torn down, or we tear these houses down and maybe I remember HUD used to come in and build neighborhoods back up, in HUD houses or something like that, affordable housing for
Yep.
people, and just build them in these places. What is that a thing? Why can we do that to build that back up?
We can. We need to do an all of the, check all the boxes approach. It's funny that you say that, what you said about going other places. So I was in California all week. I just flew home this morning from LA, and the, I was in North Hollywood, and I went down a stretch of road, and, they've got the homeless tents out, right?
Yeah.
And underneath the underpasses or the overpasses, they're lined up on either side with homeless tents. Even with the amount of homeless tents in there, they don't have a tenth of the blight problem that we do. Like, they're
Wow.
still operating full-blown businesses around all of that, I'll call it unfortunate circumstances around those homeless people, but
Mhm.
there's still people, like, they don't have burned down houses. They don't have the blight that we have. It's almost like, how do you take a step back and fix it? And it's the all the above approach, meaning HUD. It's getting these homes and using them for training facility to get our youth something to do, give them
Mhm.
jobs, because I'm sure that, I don't know what our college, the number of residents that live in a city that actually seek a secondary education, but I'm sure it's pretty low. So let's get people lifetime skills. Let's get them. You teach somebody to build a house. That's a skill for a lifetime that they can make money, and even if they don't stay in the area, you can build a house anywhere in the world. Like, that's a lifetime skill that you can feed your family with. Let's turn some of these blighted properties, and let's turn them into opportunity.
Yeah.
Let's turn them
I
into jobs.
agree.
Let's turn them into future.
I agree. It's the same with some of the buildings. Like, so it's, I don't know, like so many people, I hear people when they have all these really good ideas for wanting to start a business and how they can start a business and things like that. But I know that building space sometimes is an issue too, because even some of the buildings that are, like empty, even the smaller ones or even the bigger ones or whatever, they are like fucking ridiculous to even acquire or even to look into to even get. Or even if you go
Yeah.
to it, like you ask for or ask about like pricing or anything like that, and they want like this god awful price for a building that's been empty for like 15, 20 years. You're like, what? Like,
Yeah.
and then if you say they even allow you to do it, the amount of money that you have to put into it to get it back to code or whatever. Why? I just like there should be some programs for that too, right? To acquire some
Right.
of these
And
buildings so
and
we
there
can
there
get
can
that.
be.
Yeah.
There can be. So if we can, if we work with for the house sector, if we work with Habitat and Restore, like we can take, let's say if we got 10 houses, right? And five of them we know we can fix up, and five of them they're questionable, they got to be torn down. Well, the five that have to be torn down, there's salvageable stuff in there. So that salvageable stuff we can use, um, we can use it as a training opportunity, obviously, but this we can salvage that stuff and use it for other properties where people don't have to pay, right? So you can take some of that upfront cost that you would need to fix a building or a house or whatever else, and work with different programs and community outreach programs and funding of HUD with SBA, and there's so many different things out there that offer stuff. It's just a putting together a collaboration of having all of that information available to people. It's
So
it's really
how do we get HUD to come in and do that? How do we get HUD to come in and say, okay, all these blighted places or all these places where these are torn down, we want to build some type of low income housing in these spots. How do we get HUD to come in and do that?
good question. I really don't know the exact answer to that, but I would imagine that it would be, um, we have to show initiative, and I would say that we have to put our money where our mouth is. And for the past 5 years, we haven't shown any initiative to fix our own problems.
Mm,
So I
mm,
think I think once we start realizing and fixing our problems, then we can get more visibility to get other entities of government or nonprofit in here to help us to get us to the finish line.
because I think I'm glad you said that, because I think that's the thing, right? Because if you if you don't take care of your own stuff, nobody wants to help you,
Right.
get it going, right? So we look at these people, these things that are surrounding us. Like, let's take Lake Orion for instance. Lake Orion, GM is putting another however many million
Yep.
dollars into that, right? They're adding
Billion.
battery plant there. Yeah, billions. I'm sorry.
Billion.
The
Billion with a
battery
B.
plants in there, all of that. I work there, right? I see it and I see what's going on and I think about it and I'm just like, what a fucking shame that
Yep.
we have the capacity and capability of doing that and people, and we drop the ball. Like,
Yeah.
what do we do? Even when they were
We're
talking about that in the works of doing that, what the fuck? What, we dropped the ball.
Yep. It's goes like, if you can't learn to help yourself, like you got a gambling problem, nobody's going to lend you $10, right? We got to
Yeah.
fix our gambling problem.
Well, then
And
no, go.
no, I was
Go.
just going to say, like, that's why I said once we get on the forefront and actually come up with ideas to fix our problems, then people will come in and help us out. But until we get out of our own way to fix our
Yeah.
community, then nobody's going to waste their time or money with us.
It makes it hard, right? So I think about it, and I think about it in relation to being a Lions fan, right? It's hard as shit to be a Lions
Yep.
fan. Right? And that's how I feel. And that's how I feel about here, right? You like, I want to stay. I want to help you get on his feet. Like, I want to see it come back. But then you're just like, man, all this stuff around. Nobody else is trying to do anything. And then you feel like the Lone Ranger, right? Or you feel like you're in this
Hmm.
little group with just this little group of people, and the rest of the people like, whatever, you know?
Yeah,
Like
it's
being a lot.
you're standing.
Yeah. So I feel like it's like being a Lions fan, right? And you feel like,
Yep.
because, I say this all the time, I probably won't live to see the Lions ever make get a Super Bowl ring, but go far in the playoffs to get to the Super Bowl
Maybe
at
even
all,
not
right?
even make a playoff game. Yeah.
I know, right? And that's how I feel. And I don't want to feel like that. And I do not want to feel like that about our city, right?
Yeah.
And so it
I
just
mean,
frustrates me to high fucking heaven.
we're in a guard post, guarding an abandoned building. Like, why are you guarding an abandoned building? Nobody's gonna touch it. Like, we have to we have to say that we're guarding palaces instead of burned down buildings. Until we start making palaces and cleaning up our neighborhoods, um, then I don't think that we're gonna get help.
So I think the other problem is that, like schooling, school, lack of
Yep.
school, lack of
Yep.
education and things like that. What what do we do? What do you think in your mind when you think about it? What do you think? What do we do?
Well, I've said this for a while, and if the schools were cream of the crop, people would be flocking to the city, right? If we had top-notch schools, if we had, um, you know, just if we had the school system of, like you said, a Lake Orion, where I'm sure they're up there, and as far as the state rankings, if we had something similar to that in state, as far as the schooling in the city, people would come back. People would take their own initiative to buy a house or a property and move back in. Like, people want clean, safe neighborhoods for their children and a good education for their children. We've
Absolutely.
got no schools. Um, how many do we have that are boarded up? And we've got,
Too
you
many.
know, a, a handful of elementary schools, um, but they're all struggling. I think that the state's grading system, we're near the last as far as getting results from the schools. And obviously some of that is the kids' home life, but the schools have to step in and help us out, right? Um, we know that we're an impoverished community, and when impoverished communities struggle, that's when schools are most important. And until we get new schools, until we have an attractiveness for um, to bring in youth, and families, we're going to struggle.
Well, and that's the thing too, right? We like shiny objects. We like the new things. We like the whole, like up and coming. A new phone comes out, we want it. Even though we just got a phone 2 months
Mhm.
ago, a new one comes out 2 months later, we want it, right? But
Yep.
but I think that's the same thing as far as like, the school goes, because we want to see our children in those type of things. We want to see it. So when I think of it in relation to those things, like, um I don't have any children that live in the Flint school district though, but I just been thinking a lot more. Like, I probably need to be a little more vocal and going to those school board meetings and that, because I don't, and so that's something that I need to work on personally. But even though I don't have any children, that go there or in there, I mean, I still think that these children that are coming up, they are old that, like, because I think about when I was going to school and what I had: metal shop, wood shop. I had
Hmm.
choir.
Where'd you
We
go to
had
school?
band. We had all of these things. And I remember I even had a class. I even had a class where it taught me how to draw blueprints. So I still remember, like, I could draw a blueprint to a house right now, and I still remember how to do
I
that.
had
Right?
I had all of those same classes at Southwestern.
Yeah, and that's what I'm saying. And so those are the things that I didn't even go to Southwest. I went to Beecher, but I mean, but I remember us having those things, and I remember even going to, being able to go to the skill center, right?
Mhm.
um, and learning skilled trades, how to do hair and all that, even home ec, because children right now have no idea if a button pops off or anything, they want to throw the whole damn thing away instead of repairing the button, right? Or
Yeah.
sewing something back up if they get a little rip in it or somewhere, like in the seam, those things like that, even those little bitty things like that, like just life skills in general, right? Typing. Why we don't have typing? They on the damn keyboard all the time. You still should have typing, right? I just don't.
Well, try to teach kids these days cursive.
Because they don't teach it anymore, right?
No.
That's insane. My daughter, this is an absolutely true story. My daughter, she's 16 now, but they stopped teaching that like a while ago. And I like I'm very active in it, so I know the type of things that she's learning, but it never dawned on me that they weren't teaching cursive, right? I missed that. I totally missed all of that. So I'm writing one day, and I'm writing, and she actually could read it, but she said, "How do you do that?" She's like in the sixth grade, and I'm like, "What?" She's like,
Yeah.
"How do you do that? I want to learn how to write my name in cursive." Listen, when I tell you I felt like a shit parent,
Right.
I feel like a shit parent because I'm like, what the fuck? I'm like, what? She's like, no, they didn't teach us how to do that. Totally dropped the ball. But I'm thinking and I'm looking at everything else, right? Like I had a fucking meltdown about new math, right? Went and sat in her class for like 2 hours.
Don't.
This
Nope.
is a true story.
Nope.
True fucking story. I went in and sat in her class for like 2 hours, and I told the teacher, I said, I'm not leaving until I get it because I can't help my kid. I'm frustrated. She's frustrated, right?
Nope.
But I totally dropped the ball on that.
Yeah. The new math and how they're teaching I'm like, nope. Like 2 + 2 or
It's 4.
9 + 12 and carry the 1. Like, nope,
See
none
what
of
I'm
that stuff.
saying?
Like,
You need 6 pages now. 6 pages to show your work to get 2 + 2. That is ridiculous. I don't have that type of time.
Nope.
I don't even understand it. I asked this guy at work. This is a true story. I asked this guy at work, and I said something, and I said, it was a percentage. And I said, well, if it's like $48,000 and you have $50,000, I'm like, well, what percentage is that you have left to even get to $50,000? Listen here. He explained that for like 3 minutes, no joke. And I'm like, what? He went around the world and back 3 times, came up with the right answer, but I'm like, you did all of that and it was like this. And so when I explained to him how I got to it, and he's like, wow, that was a lot easier. I'm like, is that what you're learning? Like, that's how you learned it? I was so confused. So automatically there's a
Overcomplicating
disconnect.
everything.
Yeah, right. But automatically there's a disconnect between them and us anyway, from how they're learning right now, as opposed to how we've learned it, even trying to help them. So not only is there a disconnect there, then there's a disconnect because we can talk about all these things and these nice things that we had to do, and they're like, I don't give a shit. We don't have anything to do, right? So we totally have a disconnect. Period. At some point, we have to get somewhere where we can come together with something, right? We have to find a way to connect more with the children and get these children something to do because they are wreaking havoc in places that we don't need them to be wreaking havoc at, and that's part of the problem. So many things, like, and I believe that if we could get some of these buildings to be acquired by some of these people that want to, like even some of these not all activists, because all these nonprofit activists, they're not doing anything, but some of them that want to do some of the things, like if Man Up Peacekeepers wanted to have a building to put their programs in, or some of these other ones that have programs that they want to put in for children, and they want some of these buildings, like, why is it so hard to acquire those?
So one thing though is I don't want to. I do believe that there's an issue, and it's a generational thing. And you keep saying buildings, that we got to put people in buildings. We got to do this in buildings. When did we stop playing outside? When did kids stop riding their bikes up and through the neighborhoods and staying out till the streetlights come on, and you going outside and don't come back until it's dinner time. When did we stop that? Like we're always in a building. We always have to have a phone or a tablet in front of us. When did we stop, going out and getting sunlight? It's like we need
Absolutely.
we need full programs, meaning um, outside activities, whether that's you know massive playgrounds or you know anything outside. I would say that it's coming down to where people's and kids' immune systems are for shit because
Yeah,
they're not eating dirt the way that every other generation did, right? Like
absolutely.
they're so pampered and uh, here's a sanitizer for your hands if you after you go to the store or something like that. Like there, we have to something fundamentally is wrong, and we have to fix it. It's and it, putting putting the and it may be this right here.
It's a lot of
That
that.
could that could be the demise of our existence is this thing right here.
It's a lot of that. So I heard this chiropractor talking, right? And he was saying that he has an abundance of children now, as opposed to, like older adults, that have been working for
What
quite
with
a
their
while.
neck down?
Mm-hmm. And that's a problem.
Hmm.
So, as opposed to their
Yep,
spine
their
curving
spine.
in like this. Now it's curving out like this because they're like this all the time. And so they're having all these problems and they're having headaches and they're having this and they're having that because they spend all their time like this and they're all hunched over. They're always
Yep.
sitting. So I totally wholeheartedly agree about being outside and having programs outside. Like yesterday, it was being nice outside. My grandson was on his bike. We got his bike out, and we walked outside. And I was walking behind him, and he rode his bike through the neighborhood. We were outside all day, right? Had a great time,
Hmm.
right? So those are some of the things. And I used to do that with my children as well when I had time to be outside, and we were always outside. I don't think my kids ever came in the house, but you know, um, I,
But it's
I
more of
think
the
that we
exception.
need those. Yeah,
Like
but I
seeing
think that we
seeing a
do need
kid out
those.
on a bike is rare.
Yeah, but I think we do need those programs. We do like, I'm not I do agree that we need way more outside things. Wholeheartedly agree, right? So like I said, but if they have those programs in there and maybe in that program, one of them is a bike club and they ride their bikes, twice a week through
Mhm.
the neighborhood or whatever, or even a roller skating club where they roller skate through the neighborhood, right? Because I used to do that. I
Yep.
remember when they first blacktopped our neighborhood, I
Oh yeah.
begged my grandparents to buy me a brand new pair of skates because I didn't want to wear my inside skates to the outside. So when I go to the rink, those were messed up. And I skated my ass off through the neighborhood, right?
And
I
then
remember doing
yeah,
that type of stuff.
you're begging not to hit a rock so you don't do a face plant.
Yeah, yeah. But just things like that. And even if it's just like, you have that area and maybe the area behind your building, you have this area where you got it paved again. And then, that can be their their outside roller derby, their little outside roller skating rink, like something,
Mhm.
right? But I
Yeah.
think that we need to do that, and to get those programs to get some of those things. Like, I don't know. Those are the type of things that I think about because I think when I think about it, I always think about like just the kids doing something and having something to do. And just like you said, outside we have all of these parks and all those old schools. Why not open them up to be community centers so they can have something to do out there? If we're not gonna do that, if we're not gonna, open it back up as a school, but to at least use it as a community center to have those things, kickball and baseball and softball and all those things, those outside things, right?
Yeah. I mean, like over here at Broom Park, over off of Atherton Road, they used to have a swimming pool. There used to be
Hmm.
an outdoor swimming pool, uh, a hockey rink that was ice in the winter, and it was rollerblade hockey rink in the summer. They
Yeah.
used to have baseball fields with the dirt on them. Now they're just overgrown weeds with a fence backstop. Like um, our parks and rec and by us, getting rid of all of our golf courses
Mm.
and basically abandoning all of our parks during the um, emergency manager, we still haven't. I mean, we could have taken those things back over and brought them back up. There's no. It's like we'd rather spend the money on something that doesn't matter, and not looking at the things that maybe not matter on paper, but can change people's lives.
So, what can we, as just regular old citizens and constituents of Flint, what can we do? What is it that you suggest that we do to just demand that these things happen? What is it? What actions can we take to get some of this stuff in place and to implement some of these things? What can we do?
Talk about it. Come to council and make sure your voice is heard.
Do I have to
Um,
take a day off of work to come to council because it seems the last
well,
24 hours?
I'm not promising any time frame, but um, you know, uh, I would, and it's a sad thing, but a lot of our council people are hooked on what people say on Facebook. Like they
Mm.
are driven by the 12 people on Facebook that voice their loudest opinion. And the 12 people that those council people listen to aren't screaming parks. They're not screaming the things that would change our community for the better. And
So,
that's unfortunate.
could regular old me or regular old um, Mary Joe or Jimmy John, can one of us just come to council and say, "Hey, I have this. I have this program. I have this great program that I want to put together. Like, and I want to do it. Like, how do I do it? Can I come and I say I want to start this program and somebody help me do it?"
It obviously depends on what program there is, but I think
Mhm.
that there's a lot of resources that are available if somebody wants to take the initiative. Um, as far as funding, if like tomorrow in at Nethercutt School, we have our last ARPA meeting, and those are the first time that the community is really, because not that many people come to council. Um, and it's really the first time that council members have actually heard from the community on what they want fixed. So it's it's really the loudest voice always wins in the community. It's a proven fact.
So tomorrow at Nethercutt, the community can come out and speak on this.
Yep,
What
yep.
time?
Tomorrow at noon. Tomorrow at noon at Nethercutt, we're having our last ARPA meeting. It's we save the best for last for the one in the eighth ward. Um, but yeah, it's while it's dedicated or it's promoted as for the ARPA funds. But anybody that comes out and wants to, if you want uh, houses to be fixed, you want new parks, like your voice will be heard, and all of it will be documented. So it's really, if you really truly have a desire to help and fix something, come out and let your voice be heard. It's the first step of the healing process of our community. It
Yeah.
really truly is, because if we have a bunch of um, quiet people that are just sit back and watch the decline of the city and nobody wants to speak up, we're going to be constant decline. We're never going to hit that off ramp and go in an upward trajectory.
I agree. So I ask this quite often to people that lately that I've been having on. So, what are your top three? What if you could have the top three um, action items that we really need to enforce and work on in order to heal the city and get the city back? What are your top three?
So I was That's a tough question
Hmm.
because they all kind of hinge on one another. I mean,
Okay.
if you think about, um, I think realistically, top three are Blight, Blight, and Blight
Hmm.
because you look at communities that don't have blight. You go down to Bloomfield Hills, right? They don't got no blight. They don't got no crime. So
Royal
would,
Oak.
would
I go there all the
so
time.
so
Nothing.
you say, well, blight blight is one or crime is one and whatever else, but people that don't have blight typically don't have crime. When you don't have blight and you have nice, beautiful neighborhoods, you have good schools. Like it's all tied into the visual aspect of your city. 100%. So yeah, my top three are Blight and Blight and Blight.
You know what? I appreciate you saying that. I mean, I have thought about it like that because I do think they are one and the same. Absolutely do, right? But I really do appreciate you saying that. And I'm gonna tell you why I appreciate you saying that. It's because you don't have the blight problem.
I
It
don't.
ain't your ward that has the blight problem, right?
And
So I
I've
appreciate
said
that.
this, like when I tried saving the 600 houses, there was very few in my ward. Like I was trying to save the houses and fix them up and spend the money on the northern wards
Right.
because if the northern wards go desolate, it's going to eventually come down and take
It's
and
the
swallow
trickle
the
down
whole
effect.
city. Yeah, like
Yeah,
uh, like I'm saying, I'm not fighting for anything in my ward. I want what's best for the city.
I totally agree.
Until we get wards 1, 2, 3, and 4 repopulated and back to clean, safe neighborhoods,
Mhm.
spending money in my ward ain't going to help anything.
I agree. I appreciate that. I honestly really appreciate you saying that. I don't think that let me just say this, and I appreciate you coming on and talking to me. I appreciate that you being open to talk to me anytime I've ever reached out to you. I do want to say I really appreciate that about you.
Yep.
And so I don't think that people hear that enough, or people even understand that that's your thinking enough, right? So when I would have talked about it and I told Mickey, I was like, man, I want to talk to Dennis. I said, I'm gonna reach out to him, because whether people hear you or they don't hear you, I've heard you, right? And I've said this, and Mickey can tell you, Mickey can come back on and tell you, I always say, man, I like that guy. He thinks a little bit different. You know what I'm saying? And I think
Yeah.
that maybe, I don't know, sometimes we can get into the white black thing, right? We can get into
Yeah.
the, I got money, you don't have money thing, or we can think
Hmm.
about, where you live as opposed to where I live or whatever. And I think that sometimes we get caught up in a little bit of that too, right? But for me,
Hmm.
that's not the thing, right? I'm listening. And I think we don't take enough time to listen and see where people where their agendas really lie, and if their actions match their words. I think
Right.
that's half the problem. So we continue to have these clowns in place that are not meaning us any good. And so then we have all this bickering and this arguing and this fighting, and nobody is really listening. And then we're fighting on whether somebody should be censored as opposed to what we're gonna do with this money. Like, it's just a big show, and people are watching it and they're like, yeah, I don't want to put no money into that. I'm not coming there. I'm not doing
Right.
anything with that, because that's what they're seeing all the time, right?
Hmm. Yeah. It goes
So
back to what we
again,
said. And it goes back to what we said is until we fix our own problems, nobody else is going to come in and want to invest in our community.
yeah, man. I really appreciate you. I appreciate you listening. I appreciate you taking the time out to talk to me. I have one more question for you.
Yeah.
So Dennis Pfeiffer of March 18th, 2022, what advice or what would you tell 12-year-old Dennis Pfeiffer? What advice would you give 12-year-old Dennis Pfeiffer?
Wow. Uh, I would say I would tell myself to get addicted to reading.
Mm,
That I would I would tell myself to get addicted to reading, um, and because too much that too much information is out there, and people don't spend enough time learning and growing themselves. Um, I think I think you have to exercise your mind as much as you know exercise your body. And if if you're only if you're eating bags of potato chips as a diet, more than likely you're eating the proverbial bag of chip of data coming into your mind.
Hmm.
So I would say um, read more books, listen to more perspectives. Um, that's what I would tell my 12-year-old self, because you have to constantly be learning, because this day and age, if you stop learning for even given any given period of time, and you can't catch up.
You don't grow, right? You stay stagnant.
Yeah. Yep.
Can't evolve. You're absolutely right. I'm glad that you said that because I actually love to read. Like I was that kid, I was the nerdy kid. I still call myself the nerd, right? And I read. And at one time, I'm always reading like a million books. Like right now, look, there's a book right here, and it's the Lost Book of Herbal Remedies, right? Just because I thought it was
Okay.
interesting. So like I read whatever. It doesn't even matter. I just like to read and I just like to learn, right? And so that's one of the ways that I learn the best, right? That's personally, I learn the best by reading because one, I'm left-handed, right? So if you showed it to me,
Oh, I
I
won't.
probably
You went to
couldn't get
Beecher. You went to Beecher, and you're left-handed.
Yup, all that, right? So, if you kind of showed it to me, I would still have to find my own way of doing it because I'm like, listen, when I tell you I'm left-handed, I'm like really left-handed, right? So
Yeah.
I would have to figure it out myself. So sometimes it's better if I just read it. I read it, I look at it, and I go and figure it out. I mean, I would like for you to show me, but I really like to read it. I'm the person that I read the directions to everything. Like I read it from
Yeah.
cover to cover. I'm that
If you
person.
think about it, you don't have to read anymore. If you want to learn something, you can watch a 4-minute video on YouTube. Like, the
The
people don't know
University
how
of
to read.
YouTube and the University of TikTok, right?
Yep. Yep.
That's where everybody's
Yep.
going. Yeah.
So that's I would say that learning and reading has to be something that isn't lost, and I think that we're unfortunately going down that road. So
Yeah, that's unfortunate. Maybe that's another thing that we should have more book clubs. I think we should.
yeah,
We should have more book
I,
clubs.
my neighbor here on the corner of Miller in Ida has a old those free newspaper stands that the plastic ones where the doors come out. They used to be I don't even know if they have those, the newspaper where you put a quarter in anymore. Like, I don't even think they have those anymore, right?
I don't think so.
I
I
don't think
haven't
so
seen
either.
them. Mm-mm.
But he's got a out there by one of his trees. He's got a borrow a book, drop a book right out there in the yard in
Really?
one of those things. Yeah. So um, there's some people that are still passionate about it, and I just think that we need to have more people like that, and more parents get involved, and um, trying to persuade that passion, because sometimes it is difficult to get the kids and whatnot to read and actually pick up a book, because they do just want to watch the video. So it's gonna take some parent involvement, but I think
Definitely.
it's a paramount issue that is critical to growing.
It absolutely is. Well, you have anything for me? Anything that you want to say?
No, I'm good. I appreciate you inviting me on. I know we had some scheduling conflicts for the last time, but no, it was a great conversation. I enjoyed
Yeah,
being
no,
on.
anytime. Anytime. It's always open for anybody. But it's always open for you. Dennis, you got anything to say? You want to come
Well,
on
if
here?
you're
You
going to
want
open it to anybody, it kind of minimizes my wantingness to be on, if you're going to have every riffraff on here.
Well, you know what? You know what the crazy thing about riffraff is that probably the riffraff thinks I'm the riffraff, so you know they don't come on there, but you know
Mm,
they're like,
no,
ah,
it's
you
all
got
good.
Dennis Pfeiffer on there, you got Art Woodson on there. I'm not coming on there,
Oh,
you
I'm
know.
sure you're gonna get some flack for having me on here. That's for sure.
Hey, you know what? I'm okay with that because listen, you are all right with me. You are all right with me.
Mm.
Hey, we can be friends. I'm not opposed to it, so they can say what they want. I'm good with it.
Yeah, well, once again, I just appreciate you having me on, and it was a good conversation. And I think the more dialogue that we can have as a community, the quicker we're going to heal.
Yeah, I think we do. I think we need to. So yeah, you come back anytime. We can talk about more things. We can get some more things on the table. Come back anytime. We can have some more dialogue. We can get some more things out there. Come
Sounds
up with
good.
some ideas, some actions. Let us know some things that's coming on. So again, we want to talk about the ARPA fund. The last meeting is tomorrow at Nethercut at noon,
Yep.
correct? All
At
right, we
noon.
need
Yep.
everybody to come on out. We
Yep.
gotta we gotta talk about it so we can get it out there on the table, right?
Let's pack the gymnasium.
Absolutely.
It's
Absolutely.
the
We need
only. It's the and I anticipated it being a good turnout. It's the only one that we've had at a school. I was able to partner with the Flint Community Schools to coordinate this. So I think there's some general commonality because the school district got money too. So I'm hoping that there's some good conversations and how we can join forces and spend that money correctly.
okay. All
So
right. So, Mr. Pfeiffer, if anybody needs you, they can just reach you. They can reach you by your web address and I mean your email and
yep,
your council number and all of that. If somebody needs you, listen, you
yep,
guys. I just want to be transparent with you. Like Dennis didn't know me from a can of paint but the first time that we met each other, he opened the invitation to talk to him anytime. I did reach out to him and he was quite available every time I've ever reached out to him. So I really appreciate that. I know sometimes people think that some of the council people or even people in general are very hard to reach in that, but I can assure you that he is not that guy, that he is definitely one that reached back out and he will answer any question if he can. He's always been very honest to me and I really, really, truly appreciate that. I appreciate
yep,
I appreciate you. I appreciate you being vocal and thinking and voicing the opinions that you voiced on the council. Try to
yep.
keep them suckers in
I'm
check.
an, I'm
Try to keep them suckers in
I'm,
check. I want to come to a council meeting. I just don't have 2 days to be there.
yeah, I hear you. But I'm an open book. If anybody's got any questions on why I vote the way I vote or anything else, I'm an open book. I'm not hiding anything. So I'm here for the only one agenda, and that's to fix the city. So
All right,
that's
cool.
it.
Hey, Dennis, can you hang back a minute before we will get off the air? But can you hang back a minute, Mickey and I talk to you a little bit?
Yep,
You got
absolutely.
a minute? Okay, great. All right, guys. Well, that was it with Mr. Pfeiffer. I enjoy always talking to him. This is my second time. We'll absolutely do it again. If you guys have any questions, comments, or concerns, please bring those up. Give us a call, give him a call. But show up tomorrow to Nethercut at noon for that last ARPA meeting. It's the last one. So if you got anything that you want to put on the table, tomorrow is the day to kick somebody over and sit down and have a seat. All right. So with that said, everybody have a great night.